Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Munster Show. And this is Tuesday, and we're looking at March 3rd in the morning. And you're listening to WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM. And my name is David Nellens. I'm the councilman from the Ward 4 for the Town of Munster. And I have a guest. I always say that. I'm excited to have a guest. And I have Dan Reyes with us. And Dan is our new assistant town manager here in Munster. And we're going to talk with Dan a little bit and find out some of his background. And I'm excited about this. We're adding some staff to handle projects and to work with our developers and contractors. And this is good. So, Dan, welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Munster. And what we're going to talk about with Dan today is find out a little bit about his background. I had the opportunity prior to the show here to learn a few things, and I found it interesting. Dan, let's start with, where were you born? This
Sure.
is like the interview. We're going to start right back to the beginning. Where's your roots at?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I am from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the second largest Army base in the United States. I grew up there for the earliest part of my childhood and then moved around as an Army brat from Texas to Heidelberg, Germany.
So, have you moved this way a little bit? So, well, good. So you've been around the world, a number of places. I'm not from a military family. In fact, I was not in the military. While I'm not real happy to say that, because I think it's important to be involved with our country, and a lot of folks are involved in the military. But you were in the military, and family moved around. And how did you end up in Idaho?
Sure. Actually, my father was in the military and my mother was a teacher, so I come from a line of public service. But I was also in the reserves for 8 years. I was a medic, and then I was a CBRN specialist, which stands for chemical, biological, or radiological nuclear. So we did a lot of recon and decontamination.
Okay.
And so one of the ways I ended up here was I found skiing when I lived in Seattle. And when I was in Seattle, I was in a military unit for biological detection. And so we did a lot of driving around and posting up and practicing for detecting anything that could be there.
Oh, okay. So you had hazmat suits?
Yep.
And you had instrumentation that you could use?
Exactly.
You didn't just wet your finger and touch something and say, oh, I think that's nuclear.
I've always wanted one of those shirts that is the periodic table and it says, "Can I lick this?" But yeah, so that's how I ended up in Washington, and then I found skiing, and then I moved to Teton Valley, Idaho, which is the Idaho side of Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Okay, and I'll declare I don't know a thing about skiing other than what I see on TV or the Olympics. So you were involved in skiing?
Yeah, I did the winter circuit for a number of years. I lived in Oregon and Washington and Idaho and Montana for a short jaunt, working at ski hills in the winter time. And then I would go back to Seattle for the summer. But when I ended up in Idaho, I ended up staying there for about 10 years. I meant to be there for one winter and stayed 10 years.
Wow. So what did you do as far as the working for the resorts and activities? Did you teach skiing or?
No, I was a lift operator. So it's kind of
Okay.
the bottom of the barrel of resort workers. We stand outside all day and check lift tickets, but also represent the resort and try to show the guests a good time.
So if somebody didn't have a ticket or their ticket was invalid, you send them off the other way?
Exactly, unless they were really friendly.
Well, good. So let's see, your education, how did that come about?
Sure. After working at many ski hills, I realized that wasn't going to sustain me for the rest of my life. So I ended up going to community college online, and the county I lived in had a program where they would pay certain fees. And so I was able to go to get my associates in political science from the College of Western Idaho, which is out of Boise. And then I followed that up with my bachelor's degree in environmental economics and policy. I got both these degrees online, my bachelor's from Oregon State. And that was just me trying to figure my life out sort of later in life off the non-traditional path.
Sure.
And then through schooling, I found my first county manager position in Teton Valley, Idaho. And now I'm here.
There you are. I've actually been to Boise.
Okay.
And Boise's on the way to nowhere. You can't even get a direct flight from Chicago to Boise. You have to go through Denver. But I went there. I had a cousin that had family that was there, and we were doing some things and involved with it. It's a beautiful city. Mm-hmm. It really is. And
it's one of my favorite for sure. I've been to a lot of places, and I've really enjoyed Boise.
And the whole valley and everything is really enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's on the way to nowhere. So you have to go out of your way to get there. Mm-hmm. So what brought you to all right, so you're working there in the county as the county
manager. Or sorry, the county administrator was my official title.
Okay. And you mentioned that you got hired, mm-hmm. declined the job, or they wanted to hire you, and you didn't get hired. You didn't accept it.
So I think earlier I told you that I interviewed for the position, and I could tell that the Board of County Commissioners had created this evolution of a position from an operations manager. And they had created this job description that covered everything they could think of, from risk management to HR to the general operations, contract review, all kinds of things. And I could tell that it was a great opportunity, but that there was an opportunity to do it the wrong way. And so realizing that, I actually declined the position. And it wasn't until one of the county commissioners took me out and helped me realize that what he saw was a maturity in realizing the position was more than I was being sold, that they needed somebody like that who could foresee things that the county was going to face and could help create holistic ways to address those issues, as well as the issues that they already had.
Okay. So, and then you did accept the position.
I did.
And how long did you work?
I was there for 3.5 years.
And how did you find that to be? Did you basically create the position and develop
using
it?
the template that they had come up with? I did develop the position into a true county manager position where we, all the responsibilities were from I was in the Board of County Commissioners office, but it was more of a traditional role at that point by the time I left.
All right. So what kind of responsibilities did you have besides everything?
Sure. It really was a lot of the human resources aspect of it, a lot of the communications, especially emergency communications, coordinating with all the elected officials. County government is different from town municipalities where the town manager's office has a little more oversight. I had to work and coordinate with multiple elected officials, from the assessor, the treasurer, the clerk, the county commissioners, the prosecutor, the coroner.
Wow. How many employees did you oversee?
We had just under 100 in the county, and then probably 60 under the Board of County Commissioners. So we were a smaller organization than Munster.
But still, that's a lot of employees. That's a lot of contact.
Yeah.
And who did the hiring and firing? You had department heads or lead people or something that was...
So for all the positions under the county commissioners, I coordinated the hiring with the department heads, right? You want to leave the... you want to give the department heads the emphasis to hire from their expertise.
Okay.
But I helped coordinate everything and then helped, give input on best decisions and best processes.
Wow. So that gave you a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. You sort of baptism by fire. They threw you right into it, and you had to put it together and make it work, and having a number of bosses that have thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, exactly. having three bosses that can't interact with each other but can interact with you can be challenging.
Make things happen, make things develop. So
yeah, it's a little more difficult because we had 3 county commissioners as opposed to 5 town councilmen. So the quorum is 2 of them meeting. Then you've got a meeting.
So you could only talk to one at a time.
Exactly.
In theory.
Yeah.
Wow. So how is it that you came to be in Munster?
So through the position in Idaho, I realized I was looking to grow professionally, and I was looking for a mentor. And so I started to put feelers out. I wasn't in a real serious look, but this opportunity came up, and I saw that the town manager, Jim Marino, had a lot of experience, and I was really hoping to learn from him, soak in his knowledge, and grow professionally. So, and a lot of the things happening here are, or at least the things I'm involved in currently, are similar to what I was doing in Idaho. So it wasn't leaving one situation and going to a completely different
totally
situation.
different. You have employees, there's operations, there's
Exactly.
an area, there's a defined county as you have. We have a defined municipality.
Yep.
So
the opportunity fit. It checked off all the boxes, and going from a rural area to a larger town. I wasn't looking to, be the town manager of Chicago or the city manager, but an area where there are more services, more things to do, more services to provide. I really wanted to learn and to be able to offer services in full capacity to the public.
now the county there in Idaho had a population of about how much?
Just under 13,000.
Okay, 13,000 in the county.
In the incorporated county, so including our 3 incorporated cities.
Okay, so Munster we're looking at about 24,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got more folks in our municipality, let alone the county. I think the county, Lake County, Indiana, is somewhere around 900,000. Because I know there's some special legislation that gets passed in Indianapolis that are only for counties above, let's say, 750,000 and less than 1 million or 1,010,000.
Interesting.
And that's Lake County. So we get some special legislation that we can't do this or can't do that or limited and whatever. But so we're talking around 24,000, which Munster's kind of been stable. Even though we've added new neighborhoods and developments, our population is right in there, just under 24,000. So that'll give you a good opportunity.
Yeah, that defines a lot of the changes I was looking for. Munster is mostly built out, so there's a lot of economic development and redevelopment that's happening here, as opposed to rural Idaho where we were splitting land and bringing in development. You could say that Idaho is going through a land grab right now. So the challenges are very different, and I was used to that and just looking to grow in other directions.
Okay. Yes, we do want to continue with redevelopment. We have Maple Leaf Crossing that's under construction right now. That was kind of a catch-22 area of different things all gobbled up, and at one time, Munster bought that because it looked like it was going to be involved with the underpass on Calumet Avenue and that it wouldn't have access and this and that. And then we did sell it through the Redevelopment Commission. And Jay Leeser, the developer, is doing a very nice job getting that set up. And that was, like I said, a different operation. We have Centennial Village, and that was Munster Steel many years ago, which used to be way on the far side of town. It was just so far south, nobody even associated it with Munster. They thought it belonged to somebody else because it just wasn't in the main circle of what was going on. Anything south of 45th was just gone, belonged to somebody else. And now it's all incorporated in there, and with the Centennial Village, it's going to be another opportunity for you to help us develop things. But I was also going to say, now you will report to the town manager.
Correct.
So you're really insulated from them 5 councilmen that get kind of crazy, but not. we're all gonna at one time or another gonna reach out to you and ask for something or discuss something with you and try to influence you or whatever. And because that's sort of the way it is in Munster. I mean, yes, you work for the town manager, but I'm going to go see Dan and see what I can do and make some kind of changes. Anyway, I want to let you know that you're listening to WJOB 1230 and 104.7. And I've got a guest here, Dan Reyes, with us. And, it's I feel like I'm at home, even though we're in a new studio, sort of, today. It's a new desk. I'm glad that we have a desk and we can set this up. But I've been here since 2008. And I asked Dan when we came in if he knows what mid-century modern is. And I said, that's what we're going to see. This place is from the mid-50s. And like I said, it's a lot of history in the region. And we've got Jim Delo, which talks about his shows in the region area. But anyway, I've got Dan Reyes here. He's our new assistant town manager. Fresh there. We're barely coming up to 30 days. And Dan's got a lot to learn, but he has a lot to share with us because he brings in a fresh view and insight. He talked about his college being online. My college was bricks and mortar. It's a different generational thing, and it represents and shows new ways of doing things. So, Dan, we're going to get back here to Munster, and we've talked about all these projects and what's going on, and you've had a chance to be at some of our meetings. And any thoughts, any comments?
Yeah, I'm really surprised by how involved the community seems to be at the meetings. At the two meetings I've been involved in, there have been over 15 people, which is fairly new for me. We would have either no one at our meetings or 100 people because there's some issue that we've contemplated that they're involved and concerned in, and we value participation. So it's good to see at the Munster town meetings that there's a healthy participation level. And just last night, a young woman was saying that she was looking for opportunities to participate, and the town council had several ideas for her. So
it is. It's nice to have an audience. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the council now and served 22 years, going on 23 here, and sometimes we only had 3 or 4 participants. What I'd call them the hardcore, the folks that came and really wanted to be with us and find out what's going on. And then we've also had the addition over the years of the students from the government classes at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always nice because you have more folks there in the audience, students, and then now they come up and take their picture up front to show that they were here. And it adds a lot. And then we have the agenda reviews, which is new. We've always had agenda reviews, but those were usually only 1 or 2 counselors, and that was not an open meeting per se. But now with 3 or more counselors, which that's our quorum, we have the open meetings, and they're televised. I had always wanted the meetings to be televised, but it just didn't come about. But during the last 4 years, it did, and I think it adds a lot. People can zoom in, can watch it, see what's going on. They're archived, and it gives them that opportunity to see what's going on and get information. And they have questions, they can contact us individually. So but it's still similar to what you're talking about with meeting with the commissioners and having their meetings. Do they meet once a month, twice a month?
There was a lot going on in Teton Valley. We had 2 regularly scheduled meetings and then probably 2 more special meetings a week. We were meeting fairly regularly to discuss all the developments that were going on. And our meetings were much longer, but the vast majority of the time was spent with land decisions.
Okay. Our meetings sometimes could be longer. The first of this term, this 4-year block, I served as president, and we had a number of issues going on in town, so the meetings could go 2 hours. And things have kind of simplified. These following presidents didn't have the heat and fire and brimstone of things going on and what people wanted to have taken care of. And it's working out very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think the agenda reviews are good because we have an opportunity to kind of talk things out and find out if we have enough information to take it forward to the regular council meeting or whether it needs to go back for study. I think last night the sound system for the council was not on the agenda. I think that's going to have some further study to go with it. But it's good to have all this activities. We had an item last night talking about all the trucks and vehicles for public works. And it's good. It's good that we're adding new equipment to the fleet. And I like Bob's idea of hanging on to some of the trucks that we normally would trade in, because the trade-ins aren't really all that high. We get some dollars for them, but actually, if we can use the trucks or dump trucks, it's good for us. And why are we adding new ones? Because we have a lot of level of activity. We have staff that can work and do the backhoes and front end loaders and all those things, excavation. We're doing the water main repairs and working on sewers and things, so we need the equipment. And I'm more than happy to approve and sign for equipment because I think you need the right equipment for the job. And I feel really proud when I go out amongst the town, I go out through the Public Works garage and see equipment that, hey, I signed for that. I reviewed it. We made sense. In fact, we've got a new fire truck coming. And the old one, I signed off in the early 2000s to have that bought, and now I'm signing off for a new one that's not going to be here for a year and a half. I mean, we've got some deliveries. Actually, if we started from ground zero on the fire truck, it was a 3-year delivery. That's kind of insane. Here you've got to plan 3 years in advance. There may very well be a different council here in 3 years. And then they have to reapprove it when it gets here. You know, that's like crazy. Years ago, things were pretty much available right away. And
yeah, now there's certainly a lag in the time that you order something to the time that you get it. But I do think it's incredibly commendable that as a council member you feel an ownership and a responsibility to all of the equipment and the purchases that you're signing off on, and that you remember the ones you've made in the past and the ones that you're making now.
Yeah.
And I think that is important.
Thank you. And I do also felt it was important over the years, not that equipment wasn't marked, but equipment wasn't always marked as the Town of Munster. And sometimes you'd look at a front end loader and you'd say, is that Munsters? Is that Gatlin's or this or that? And I really pushed to have every piece of equipment that's the Town of Munster's property marked so that as a resident, you've paid taxes and that has paid for that piece of equipment. So it's ownership and the fact that, you know, pride in what we have. And you'll have the opportunity to get involved with our 4th of July parade. And one of the real popular items is a leaf vac. Believe it or not, Dan. People want to know, where's that leaf vac at? Is it coming? Is it going to do my street? Is it there? Where's it at? And we had the leaf vac in the parade, and we had the chipper in the parade, and we had 3 of the mowers that Public Works uses, and they were sort of like doing a routine on the pavement as they were driving around. They had the 3 mowers moving back and forth. You know, it adds interest, and the staff enjoys doing it.
Nice.
It's a lot of work, and the 4th of July parade is a effort between the Munster Lions and the Town of Munster and the Civic Foundation to help make things happen. My brother was visiting us a number of years back from California, Solana Beach, just north of San Diego, and he said to me, you know, Dave, I know why we don't have a parade in Solana Beach. And I said, well, why is that, Tom? He said, we don't have enough tow trucks. That one parade, we had all kinds of tow trucks in the parade. And he said, we don't have that many for us to have that. So, it it's all those different things that pull our community together. And lots of people have lots of ideas. And as you say, we have the 5 counselors, and sometimes we all don't agree on something. We've got this water tower coming up. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, over on the west side of town. That's going to be repaired, resurfaced, all set up. And what's going to go on it? A water tower is a big billboard. Some communities years ago used to make a golf ball because they had a golf course there on a tee. And this one we had set up. In fact, when it was painted last time was in 2002, and we were in 9/11, and we were in 9/11 mode, and all the shock and all the stuff going on. And we had the American flag put on there. We had United We Stand, and the Town of Munster on it, because it is on pretty much on the state line. So when you look over, we want them to know this is Munster here. And so you're going to have that opportunity to learn all these things.
And I'm excited to meet the people of the town, get involved in the various associations and different events that are going on throughout the town, and to represent the town and all of its members.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of organizations, the Chamber, and you've got the Lions and Rotary and civic groups, Junior Women's League Club. So there's just a lot happening. And then you've got, like tonight, we have the Board of Zoning Appeals, of which if the shoe doesn't fit, you bring it and you come there and you present to the 5 citizens, this is what I'd like to do. And it's not the straightforward program. It's different. And I think it's a very important board because not everything fits. You all have to be, this size. Well, I want to be bigger. And explain why you want to be bigger and exceed this or that. And then we have the Plan Commission. Now, the Board of Zoning Appeals is made up of 5 citizens. And they're selected, and they're independent thinkers. We have the Plan Commission, which is also independent thinkers, but we have 3 council members that are on the Plan Commission, and then 4 residents. So they actually hold the majority, but we have the opportunity to present our information, present how we feel about things, and then the vote takes place. And generally we all vote together, but not always. Normally it's at least 5 or 6 agree upon what's going on. So that's also exciting, and I'm always excited about having new developers come in and see what's going on and find out what we can do to help them, or find out that they're not what we want to have. Many years ago, a quick story, the Art Center, which you'll become familiar with right across the street from the town hall, that used to be an old elementary school. And there was a big discussion, was that going to be a cemetery when the school came down, or a fine arts center? And the fine arts center won out because it was really, it's something that people come to see. It's an activity. They have plays, they have dinners, they can do banquets, they can do wedding receptions, hint, hint, and they have all kinds of activities. But anyway, Dan, just to kind of maybe sum up, just what are you really trying to learn from Munster, and how can we help you develop your skills and make things happen?
Yeah, I've had an opportunity now to meet with all of the department heads and most of the staff, and I think that, like Teton Valley, Munster has a real determination to provide services to the public. And so what I'm hoping to get out of being here is just being able to hone those skills that I have already and to expand them where I'm lacking. And I really want to be able to facilitate that and that spirit that I'm seeing at the Town of Munster and through all of its employees.
Great. Sounds good. Well, this is Dan Reyes. My name is David Nellens. We've got our show here, Town of Munster, and I think it's been a great one. We've got a new employee a new management position that we're going to be able to help and mold. So thank you very much for your time and listening with us.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes